ఆపరేషన్ సింధూర్లో భాగంగా పాకిస్తాన్ పీఓకేలో 9 ఉగ్ర స్థావరాలపై దాడి చేసి 100 మందికి పైగా ఉగ్రవాదులను మట్టుబెట్టినట్లు భారత సైన్యం ప్రకటించింది. యూసుఫ్ అజార్, అబ్దుల్ మాలిక్ రవూఫ్, ముదాసిర్ అహ్మద్ వంటి కరుడుగట్టిన ఉగ్రవాదులను హతమార్చినట్లు తెలిపింది. మే 7 నుంచి 10వ తేదీ వరకు జరిగిన పోరులో పాకిస్తాన్ సైన్యం 40 మంది వరకు సైనికులను కోల్పోయిందని తెలిపింది. కొన్ని పాకిస్తాన్ యుద్ధ విమానాలను నేలకూల్చినట్లు భారత వాయుసేన వెల్లడించింది. ఆపరేషన్ సింధూర్కు సంబంధించి త్రివిధ దళాల అధికారులు మీడియా సమావేశంలో కీలక వివరాలు వెల్లడించారు. పాకిస్తాన్ ఎలాంటి దుస్సాహసానికి దిగినా ప్రతిస్పందన అత్యంత తీవ్రంగా ఉంటుందని హెచ్చరించారు. పహల్గాం దాడి తర్వాత ఉగ్రవాదులకు బలమైన సమాధానం చెప్పాలన్నదే ఆపరేషన్ సింధూర్ లక్ష్యమని సైన్యం తెలిపింది. సరిహద్దు ఆవల ఉన్న ఉగ్రవాద శిబిరాలను ఖచ్చితమైన ఆధారాలతో గుర్తించి 9 ఉగ్రవాద శిబిరాలపై దాడులు నిర్వహించామని DGAO లెఫ్టినెంట్ జనరల్ రాజీవ్ ఘాయ్ వెల్లడించారు. దాడుల్లో 100 మంది ఉగ్రవాదులు మరణించారని చెప్పారు. సాయంత్రం 6:30 సైన్యం ప్రెస్ మీట్ నిర్వహించింది. ఇందులో రాజీవ్ ఘాయ్తో పాటు ఎయిర్ మార్షల్ AK భారతి, వైస్ అడ్మిరల్ AN ప్రమోద్ పాల్గొన్నారు. పౌరులపై దాడులకు పాకిస్తాన్ తగిన ప్రతిఫలం చెల్లించిందని DGAO తెలిపారు.
This was with an obvious intent to deduce and identify the exact vector that was required for their neutralization, as also the eyes in the sky that we would send up to ensure that we brought back evidence that we had indeed targeted what we set out to. The precise images of these engagements on that fateful and historical night have already been showcased during the first press statement on the 7th of May that was helmed by our Foreign Secretary. I have no doubt in my mind that we achieved total surprise, and those strikes across those 9 terror hubs left more than 100 terrorists killed, including high-value targets such as Yusuf Azhar, Abdul Malik Rauf and Mudassir Ahmed that were involved in the hijack of IC-814 and the Pulwama blast. The line of control was also violated soon after by Pakistan, and the erratic and rattled response of our enemy was apparent from the number of civilians, inhabited villages and religious sites such as Gurudwaras that were unfortunately hit by them, leading to a sad loss of lives. The Indian Air Force played a major part in these strikes by engaging some of these camps, and the Indian Navy provided wherewithal in terms of precision munitions. The Indian Air Force obviously had their assets up in the sky, and I will here request Air Marshal Bharti, the Director General of Air Operations, to detail for you the methodology.
భారత్లోని అనేక సైనిక మౌలిక సదుపాయాలను లక్ష్యంగా చేసుకోవడానికి పాకిస్తాన్ సైన్యం విఫల యత్నాలు చేసిందని, వాటిని తిప్పికొట్టినట్లు ఘాయ్ తెలిపారు. భారత సైనిక చర్యలో 35 నుంచి 40 మంది పాకిస్తాన్ సైనికులు ప్రాణాలు కోల్పోయారని వెల్లడించారు.
Now coming to Bhavalpur, this is the target complex that we are dealing with, a fairly large target complex. So we had to carefully choose the points that we needed to address, which were high value and which would meet our stated objectives of eliminating the terrorists. I would like to draw your attention to this red canopy, and in relation to that, I would cover the targets. One target system is a series of buildings here, other one here, and other one out here. Next slide, please. This is how it looked before, and this is how the building looked after the impact of the weapon, and orientation in relation to this red canopy you can see here. Next, please. Before, next, and after. The roofs have completely collapsed. Next. This is the target system. Next. Precision targeting, and we have achieved our objectives here. Next.
On land, we also undertook certain measures such as deployment of air defense and electronic warfare assets to establish an integrated grid with the Indian Air Force, and I have seen and heard some of you wax eloquent about the benefits of such an architecture when it comes to negating and combating air intrusions. We also carried out deployment to include movement of our forces in the land, sea and air domains. The night of the 9th and the 10th of May saw similar intrusions by drones and aircrafts, and this time there was a concerted effort to target airfields and some very, very important logistic installations, albeit yet again unsuccessful and denied gallantly and efficiently, I must say, by the integrated Indian Air Force and Indian Army Air Defence. We further strengthened our deployment and also initiated some pressure points to send a very clear and unambiguous message to the other side to desist from any misadventures on land. Some of the airfields and dumps saw repeated attacks in waves from the air. All were thwarted. The Pakistan Army has reported to have lost approximately 35 to 40 personnel in artillery and small arms firing on the line of control between the 7th and the 10th of May. What the other side had probably also not reckoned with was the speedy and precise turnaround and hit back by the Indian Air Force. And I will yet again
బహావల్పూర్ మురుద్కే ఉగ్రస్థావరాలపై భారత వైమానిక దళం ఖచ్చితమైన దాడులు చేసినట్లు ఎయిర్ మార్షల్ ఏకే భారతి తెలిపారు. దాడులకు ముందు ఆ తర్వాత ఘటనా స్థలి దృశ్యాలను ఏకే భారతి తెరపై ప్రదర్శిస్తూ వివరించారు. పాక్ గుంపులుగా డ్రోన్ల దాడికి పాల్పడిందని, తక్షణమే భారత్ వాటిని సరిహద్దు ఆవలే ధ్వంసం చేసిందని పేర్కొన్నారు. డ్రోన్లతో దాడుల సమయంలో పాకిస్తాన్ పౌర విమానాలను ఆకాశంలోకి తీసుకువచ్చినట్లు ఏకే భారతి అన్నారు. పాకిస్తాన్ దాడులకు ప్రతిచర్యగా లాహోర్, గుజ్రన్వాలా, సర్గోదా, రాహిర్ యార్ఖాన్ షెక్లాలా, సకర్, భొలారి, జకోబాబాద్ స్థావరాలు, రాడార్ సెంటర్లను దెబ్బతీసినట్లు చెప్పారు. భారత్ పాక్ ఘర్షణలో ఇండియన్ యుద్ధ విమానాల పైలట్లు అంతా సురక్షితంగా ఉన్నారని ఎయిర్ మార్షల్ పేర్కొన్నారు.
I never mentioned of any of the weapons, the caliber that we used. All right, so we'll leave it at that. Those are matters of operational details which I would not like to go into. But suffice to say that whatever methods and whatever means we have chosen, it had the desired effects on the enemy targets. How many casualties? How many injuries? Well, to start with, our aim was not to inflict casualties, but in case there have been, it is for them to count. Our job is to hit the target, not to count the body back. This is what the terror infra at Muridke looks like. If you see, north is as indicated, and to the right is east where the international boundary lies. Could we have the next slide, please? Orientating. Just go back to one slide. Okay. Please have a look at this red building. The series of buildings out here, and this empty ground. Next. If you relate, the empty ground is here, and you see this is the first weapon that is impacting. This is the impact point number 1 on Muridke training camp with our precision guided weapons on early morning 7th. Next please. Keep your eyes glued for the second weapon coming in and the second impact on the selected target point. Next slide please. Third weapon, third impact. Continue. And fourth weapon, fourth impact. So through these targeted and precision targeting, we addressed the target at Muridke, which was the terrain infrastructure. Now coming to Bhavalpur, this is the target complex that we are dealing with, a fairly large target complex. So we had to carefully choose the points that we needed to address, which were high value and which would meet our stated objectives of eliminating the terrorists. I would like to draw your attention to this red canopy, and in relation to that, I would cover the targets. One target system is a series of buildings here, other one here, and other one out here. Next slide, please. This is how it looked before, and this is how the building looked after the impact of the weapon. And orientation in relation to this red canopy, you can see here. Next, please. Before, next, and after. The roofs have completely collapsed. Next. This is the target system. Next. Precision targeting, and we have achieved our objectives here.
పాకిస్తాన్ ఎలాంటి కవ్వింపులకు దిగినా ప్రతిచర్యలకు సంపూర్ణ అధికారాలు మిలిటరీ కమాండర్లకు వచ్చాయని వైస్ అడ్మిరల్ ఏఎన్ ప్రమోద్ స్పష్టం చేశారు. చొరబాటుకు యత్నించిన పాక్ యుద్ధ విమానాలను కూల్చామని, వాటి సంఖ్యపై తమ వద్ద స్పష్టమైన సమాచారం ఉందని చెప్పారు. రేపు మధ్యాహ్నం ఇరు దేశాల డీజీఎంఓల మధ్య చర్చలు ఉంటాయన్నారు. సైన్యం వాయుసేనలకు మద్దతుగా నిలిచిన భారత నౌకాదళ శక్తికి భయపడే పాకిస్తాన్ కాల్పుల విరమణ ఒప్పందానికి అంగీకరించిందని ఏఎన్ ప్రమోద్ వివరించారు.
In the aftermath of the cowardly attacks on innocent tourists at Pahalgam in Jammu and Kashmir by Pakistani-sponsored terrorists on 22nd April, the Indian Navy's Carrier Battle Group, surface forces, submarines and aviation assets were immediately deployed at sea with full combat readiness in concert with the Joint Operation Plan of the Indian Defence Forces. You may be aware that we tested and refined tactics and procedures at sea during multiple weapon firings in the Arabian Sea within 96 hours of the terrorist attack. The aim was to revalidate our crew, armament, equipment and platform readiness to deliver various ordnance on selected targets precisely. Thereafter, our forces remained forward deployed in the Northern Arabian Sea in a decisive and deterrent posture with full readiness and capacity to strike select targets at sea and on land, including Karachi at time of our choosing. The forward deployment of the Indian Navy compelled Pakistani naval and air units to be in a defensive posture, mostly inside harbours or very close to the coast, which we monitored continuously. The Indian Navy maintained seamless maritime domain awareness throughout the duration and was entirely aware of the location and movement of Pakistani units. In effect, we had and continue to have good battle space transparency using our maritime domain awareness grid. As you are aware, our response has been measured, proportionate, non-escalatory, and responsible from day one. Accordingly, the calibrated approach considered all options, including the ability of the Indian Navy for offensive action from and at sea. As part of this escalation control mechanism, the application of force by the Navy was planned in a synchronized manner in coordination with the Army and Air Force, the highlight being teams from the three services working closely in an integrated manner. Along with the kinetic actions by the Indian Army and Indian Air Force, the overwhelming operational edge of Indian Navy at sea contributed towards Pakistan's urgent request for a ceasefire yesterday. As we speak, Indian Navy remains deployed at sea in a credible deterrent posture to respond decisively to any inimical action by Pakistan or Pakistan-based terrorists. Thank you.
పాక్ ఉల్లంఘనలకు పాల్పడితే కథన రంగంలో ఎలాంటి చర్యలు తీసుకునేందుకైనా ఆర్మీ కమాండర్లకు సైన్యాధ్యక్షుడు సంపూర్ణ అధికారాలు ఇచ్చారని డీజీఎంఓ రాజీవ్ ఘాయ్ తెలిపారు. సమీక్ష నిర్వహించిన చీఫ్ ఆఫ్ ఆర్మీ స్టాఫ్ భారత సార్వభౌమత్వానికి భంగం కలిగించే ఎలాంటి చర్యలకైనా నిర్ణయాత్మకమైన సమాధానం చెప్పాలని ఆదేశించినట్లు డీజీఎంఓ తెలిపారు.
We have earlier today sent another hotline message to my counterpart highlighting these violations of the understanding between the DGMOs on the 10th of May and our firm and clear intent to respond to these fiercely and punitively, if repeated tonight, subsequently or later. In this regard, I must inform all of you that the Chief of Army Staff has earlier today conducted a security review and has granted full authority to our army commanders for counter actions in the kinetic domain in case of any violation by Pakistan. You know, you've got the three Director Generals sitting here. We are always prepared to face any eventuality. And like I said, that's for the sovereignty, the territorial integrity, and the safety of our citizens. So whatever has to be done will be done. You know, I'm not so concerned about what Pakistan will do in this time. I'm only concerned about what we will do. We have a roadmap and a plan, and we will follow it diligently.